The following is fact number 4 from my article entitled, "The Facts Speak for Themselves." In early 2001, Dick Cheney was put in charge of the National Energy Policy Development Group, or Energy Task Force for short. He prepared for this during the transition between the Clinton and Bush administrations. The task force met with what appears to be every oil executive in existence, even though they denied it before Congress. It was eventually discovered that one of the topics of discussion during these task force meetings was Iraq's oil fields, 5 months before 9/11. The Vice President's office fought long and hard to make sure the information from those meetings never saw the light of day. They even took the fight to the Supreme Court. Many were suspicious of the hunting trip that Antonin Scalia and Dick Cheney went on prior to the Supreme Court hearing the case. Scalia was proud of the fact that he didn't recuse himself from the hearings. Ultimately, they sent the fight to an appeals court, and it was decided that Cheney's task force documents may remain secret. That is the end of fact number 4. One of the most suspicious and incriminating things about the 9/11 attacks, in my opinion, is the convenience of the attacks for the Bush administration. It enabled them to do many things that they were planning to do ahead of time. That is also a fact. Here is something else about the Energy Task Force meetings.
Where's the liability? Where's the culpability here? What's the call for the lawsuit?
You nailed this story perfectly in the beginning of this program. Deepwater Horizon had 2 trip devices to use in blowout catastrophes. Both of them failed because of either human error or defect. Now, here's what people don't know. BP didn't want to spend the money for a system. It's a fail-safe system, absolutely fail-safe. It's a device system that's used all over the world except in the United States because we give them a free pass in the United States.
What system is that, Mike? What system is that?
The system is called the acoustic switch system. It's a relay system that blows out the bottom of the catastrophe. In other words, it stops the oil exactly from the source. Now here's what's interesting. If BP has to do business in Norway, they have to use the switch. When they do it in the U.S., they don't have to use it. It happened because of this. During the Bush deregulation years, you had the Mineral Management Service that told companies like BP that, gee whiz, we have a new policy. It's the closed-door Dick Cheney policy. That Dick Cheney program allowed the industry to bypass safe systems like the acoustic switch, and there was no need to spend $500,000 with a company that was making $40 billion. It was a complete bypass of
safety. So Mike, are you telling our audience tonight that they were too cheap to spend $500,000 on the heels of record profits to put in an acoustic switch, which would have triggered the blowout preventer, which could have stopped all of this?
It's the most unreported part of this story out there, Ed. I don't know why the media is not talking about this, but that's what it came down to. Dick Cheney changed political policy with the energy industry. We all remember when he met behind closed doors with the industry. Yeah. This is one of the things that came out of there.
So they did all of this to save, I mean, I'm taken by this. They did all of this to save $500,000? I mean, was this just a wealth of paperwork and a paper trail and safety precautions that they just didn't want to mess with? What is it?
When this story is told, it's going to look just like the other deregulatory stories, where the Bush years, they deregulated this industry just like they did the drug industry, just like they did all parts of the environment, the SEC. You look at it, it's all a deregulatory problem. Now, what we're stuck with is the problem where 20 million gallons of oil are spilling into the Gulf. There's no way to clean up. In a perfect world, Ed, think about this. In a perfect world, if everything goes perfectly, we're going to be able to get 20% of the oil from the Gulf. And what ends up happening is the rest of that crude it becomes catastrophic for an entire ecosystem.
Why isn't Dick Cheney rotting in prison?